My camera. Hey.
And hello, everybody. Welcome. How is it? We have not been live for three. Oh, it's saying that the podcast started 3 minutes ago. Welcome to episode 29 of the Doctrines of Rad. I'm Drew. This is Logan. His screen looks. Did you
Oh,
sneeze?
no.
Did you sneeze on your screen? It looks like a. Dude, it's. Do you have any? Do you have any screen clean? Don't lick it, bro. Please don't.
Hey.
Oh
That
my gosh,
saliva.
bro. That
That saliva is boss. Though. Look at that.
bro, if I cannot be the only person that wants to feel sick now because of watching you lick your finger and then touch the camera on the
This was
YouTube
a
side of
dirty
things.
pinky too.
By the way,
If you only knew how many roofs this pinky has touched today.
oh, bro, can we not talk about that? Yuck.
This is gonna be a great episode. Hey,
Yeah.
so I have to. I've always thought the whole shadow banning on TikTok was a lie. Like I always
Really?
thought, like yeah. I always thought like people were just like, I'm shadow banned. It's like, give me attention. No, it's real.
So I think I have
It really is real.
I've been hearing some theories regarding TikToks and like the ones that kind of blow up and get popular and they seemingly seem to gather, 20 to 30,000 followers and they kind of cap out.
Yeah.
So there's this, I don't know if it's a theory going around or it was a conversation that people were having about it on TikTok. And they were saying that they intentionally after they know that they've got you in kind of like you're creating content, you're on the app quite a bit, they begin to slow down they don't heat your content anymore. And that's what they're doing on YouTube. And they've been discussing this on YouTube is that popular YouTubers get popular because YouTube decides who becomes the spokesperson for the brand of YouTube. So for a long time, it was PewDiePie and then Mr. Beast. And the reason that Mr. Beast got so popular is because YouTube saw him as a philanthropist, as a good representation of YouTube as a company. And so they started to heat his videos. So they heat these videos, basically they push them out to a wider audience. So you are guaranteed to have it in your recommended bar, in your face as a suggested video or suggested content. And so that's how Mr. Beast gets so many followers. He's good for the brand. He brings people to YouTube. They profit from him being on the platform. So they promote his videos in order to profit from that. And TikTok does the same kind of thing when it comes to who the people are for their brand. So they heat the videos. They popularize the videos that they want. And so the dancing videos are always, they typically are very popular. A lot of, more, not suggestive, not explicit stuff, but suggestive stuff is popularized because they want to draw people to the app for those things and those reasons. And so videos like this, you get a good push at the beginning. It gets you hooked to the app. You got a lot of followers and TikTok recognizes you're making content. So you get a lot of followers. They push people to you until they know to whatever certain point, and then they stop doing that because now they've already got you on the app. You're on the app, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like capitalism in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much. So
interesting.
Yeah, so they don't care.
Get me
about
addicted.
Your content.
Yeah, not at all.
No, they want you to stay on the app as long as possible. So they get you hooked. Once you're hooked and you've established an audience, you feel obligated to go make videos for that audience. And so now you're on the app to use it, which will draw some people into you, but they'll adjust the algorithm. So if depending on the type of content that you are connected with and the type of conversations that they're having as well, because they have to figure out, TikTok has to figure out how to promote your stuff. And so they promote your stuff by submitting things that are similar, like things that they know that you like I like woodworking or whatever, right? So I like woodworking and I'm doing this woodworking videos. Well, they see I also follow musicians. So now they know to give me, woodworking. And then they look at everybody who else likes woodworking videos and musician videos at the same time. What other content do they like? Oh, they like clowns. Maybe this guy likes clowns. So they start to promote clowns to me. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I like clowns. I'm interested in this. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. And
So Drew liked clowns, woodworking, and Christian content.
yeah,
Who else in the world of TikTok liked clowns, woodworking, and Christian content?
obviously you liked something that I liked because it connected me with you and it got us.
Yeah, it did. And
connected
it was
in
the
some way.
greatest thing to ever happen.
It is.
If
Yeah. If
God
the
is
Bible were
sovereign.
written today, this would be recorded in that Bible.
I mean, who's to say this isn't scripture right now?
Yeah. Who's to say? You know, you can make up whatever you want and put it on TikTok. You'll gain a massive following. You know, that's the reason that guys like Wade and guys like the other people that do the stuff that they do have so many followers is because they create controversy and division. And that's astounding to our senses. It feeds our flesh. We feel real good about it.
I love it
you
when
know?
my ears are tickled.
Yeah.
Like aliens. How do you feel about aliens?
They want to see you argue, though, too. How do I personally feel about aliens?
You think there's aliens?
I think there's demons.
You don't think aliens, though?
I think that they could be angels. If there are other beings that are visiting, it just could be apparitions of angels, appearances of angels.
I was telling my coworker, like, so we drive around a lot, right? That's like our job is to drive from one, lead to another. So we just sit in a car all day. Very, very much believes in aliens. And I'm like, but you're also a Christian, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so here's the problem, right? Is there a Jesus on their planet? Mm-hmm. Did our Jesus die for them as well? If they have a sense of morality, do they not have a sense of morality and they're just animals, right? Like the whole system of an alien falls apart. Either religion goes out the window or
sure
there are no aliens. They don't work together. Or do they get their own Bible? Did God create an atonement process for them that is separate from ours?
Well, it all has to, it all depends upon the characteristics of, like, what are they claiming? Are they claiming to be beings from a planet we haven't discovered yet? Are they claiming to, what are they bringing? What message do they bring from their, experience or whatever? So,
yeah,
I mean, I think it's angels and demons. That makes the most sense.
But if there's an absolute moral truth, then it's consistent from this planet.
Well, then then they know about Jesus too. Could you imagine a group, a race of extra planetary beings that are similar to humans, but they show up and they share the exact same gospel with the exact same knowledge of scripture that we have? Like, that would be fascinating.
That would be good. Sounds Mormon, but yeah. It does. Why is that so funny?
Oh, bro. That is so Mormon, though. It's hilarious. I didn't put the connection together, though, until you said it.
Yeah.
That was a very Mormon idea. Yeah. It's like Star Wars with the Bible. Yeah. Jesus in space.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Gosh. Execute Order 666.
Okay, 666. That's good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. Hey, what's up, Erica? God didn't create us to have union with him and need to create others. He didn't create us to have union with him and need to create others. Oh, I think she's saying that there was no need for God to create other beings outside of this world.
I mean, he created the angels. Like that is a race of beings.
In the natural.
Sure. Yeah. But we don't really know, do we? I mean,
true, right? So we don't. The chief end of man is to glorify God.
Right. That's our job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if aliens come, they're going to hear about Jesus.
Technically, the aliens would be similar to the same way animal, like lions, tigers, bears, right? But anthropomorphic, where they have human intelligences and capabilities, I guess.
Yeah, just like a race of like space dogs shows up
with thumbs. They just got thumbs.
With thumbs. That's it. They still don't speak, but they arrive in some sort of a vehicle.
Hey, do you know why when birds like flock in a V, you know why there's like more birds on one side than the other side of the V?
Didn't you just make a TikTok about this?
Oh, you saw it? Darn. And it did. I
You
thought it was
just
going
keep
to get
telling me. I
liked.
just scrolled past it. I didn't actually.
Oh. Best friend. This is my best friend, guys.
Best
This is my best
friends
friend.
forever. Yeah.
This is who I call when I have problems. Right here.
Yeah. That's it.
I love it.
I'm going to lead him in the right direction. So, so I've been really, really uninterested in making TikToks lately. It's been really hard to find the drive.
You and me
do
both,
it.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
I mean,
since I'm shadow banned.
well, yeah. I mean, that doesn't.
It's not even
help.
shadow banned.
It's
I'm banned.
discouraging. Sure. But do you find like, are you just busy outside? Like in your real life, are you busy? Is that the reason, or is it just is it things about TikTok?
It's a both and, but more so. Let's go ahead and
Break it
psychoanalyze
down.
this real quick. Yes, I am busy. Our town got hit with a tornado that destroyed 3 different neighborhoods. So I am busy helping these people, my community. I'm going to run for mayor. It's going to happen.
That's awesome. I think you should.
Yeah. Yeah, I am upset with TikTok. I think TikTok is trash.
Yeah.
Seriously, I think the people that control it and decide what videos, what guidelines, community guidelines, which are extremely vague, and how they administer their power needs to be regulated. And then honestly, I don't have as much fun as I did when quarantine came out. Yeah. Or when quarantine was happening. TikToks were a lot more fun back then. Now I don't know if I'm on the wrong side of TikTok or
maybe start over. Maybe just start a whole new account and just start it over, build your algorithm from the jump.
No, because you literally have to I just finally started getting this algorithm back under control because when it came back to this account, it just reset everything and it's just butts. Dancing in butts constantly till finally I started finding friends from the old account, liking, going to certain videos. Like I went to John the Messenger, liked videos, Blake's videos, found Alexis, pulled you back in.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think Doctor's Rad was already linked with this one.
It might have been. I may have followed it because I think when I started this account, I went to go search and I probably put in Logan Burns and it probably showed up as both of your accounts. So dude, it's just, is the allure of the TikTok relationship over, you think? I feel like it's on its last leg for me. Like I'm starting to feel like I don't really care much about I'm finding there are better uses of my time and I'm not enjoying my time on TikTok as much as I did. And I'll still find myself mindlessly scrolling and I'll still, have to snap out of it and be like, stop this, go get some work done. I try to make it a point not even to get on TikTok until we've done devotion at home before the school day starts.
Wow. I love that.
Because once I get started on it with the day, even to check messages, once I get started, I get sucked right back into it. And then I look at the end of the day, I'm like,
thanks, Paul.
What did I necessarily gain from all of that? So I don't know. I think it's, for me, the allure of social media is beginning to kind of die off. I just when I left Facebook, which was one of the best things that I've ever done, that was the beginning of the process of realizing I was so narcissistically involved in Facebook and social media. I had a name for myself. I was absolutely putting on, whatever on display that I wanted other people to think about me.
Right.
Posting reformed memes and posting some controversial opinions a few times, but for a while I did, but it was really like this big show of, look at me, follow me, like my content, agree with me.
Right.
I'm glad that part of me has died. I feel like I started to try to do that stuff on TikTok too. which, you know, when my other account got big, I could feel it creeping in again, where I was making it about me. I was trying to like put on a persona to be a certain kind of way. And I just found that I didn't enjoy it as much. And I was enjoying the Christian content and Christian engagement till recently, when I feel like I'm tired of the same old stuff, man. Like, it's the same old stupid opinions. It's the same old like hot takes that are terrible. You know, like I enjoy watching sermon clips and stuff. I like enjoy like actually watching people that I enjoy to hear preach. So there is some value, because I can watch a Vody or a Paul Washer or a you know any, you know, Jeff Durbin video or something, and I'm like, that was good. You know, that was a nice little reminder of Christ and the Word, and you know,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
but you know, then I scroll on rando Christian number 5 that's, you know, speaking some kind of ridiculous blasphemy, you know, or making just insane statements, or trying to lump political things with the Bible and like try to find these connections, and Donald Trump and, you know, the Revelation, and it's just like, dude, it's so stupid. Like, it makes me kind of hate the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think that as a Christian I should have that viewpoint. I
No,
don't
you
think that
should
I
not.
should hate the
I
world.
mean, I get it, right? Like sometimes you look at a person, you're like, well, maybe Jesus doesn't love all the little children. Like, have you ever met somebody and you're just
Maybe the children, but not definitely when they're the a-hole adults.
I met this dude, like he spoke worse than Boomhauer, and I could not understand a word he was saying. I think it eventually led to like get off my lawn kind of thing. I was just like, I don't know what to do with this guy. But yeah, man, I get it. Like, people are frustrating, right? Like, people are always going to get under your skin. No one's perfect, but yeah, you get to a point where your annoyance level outgrows your desire to go to
But
them.
shouldn't I experience that like face to face with somebody that I'm like living close to? Like, shouldn't I
Versus
experience?
TikTok.
Yeah, like, shouldn't I experience the turmoil of like a face to face conflict versus listening to some idiot that I'll never meet talk about something that I don't agree with? Like, that person doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter when they have an opinion over there about some crazy thing. Like, they're not here in the body that God has caused me to join, to be a collective functioning member of that body. And so why do I care that Joe Schmo from South Dakota that speaks blasphemies does those things?
Because you love the truth.
I do, but where am I putting my effort?
So there's something to be said about the reality of the metaverse or social media, right? That what we're doing right now, and it's tangible in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, you see a lot of people talk a lot of crap via social media, either in the comments or even in TikTok lives. But I assure you, none of those people that have actually disrespected me on TikTok lives would do that to my face.
Right.
Right. Like in person. Right.
There's no anonymity in real life.
Yeah. There's a change of respect. There's a change of behavior. There's immediate threat. Right.
Sure.
So people act differently in person than they would online. And it also shows that we also are going to respond differently than we would online or than in real life. Because you probably, for Joe Schmo in South Dakota who's speaking blasphemies, probably be a little bit more kind and generous and having a actual discussion with them in person, because you can, versus where you can just call each other heretics, and that was
absolutely
the conversation.
Get into this endless debate back and forth as your followers fight each other in the comments.
Yeah. And that's another thing that actually I stopped doing response videos to, is because people who who meant well, and I appreciate them for it, who like had my back, would actually go and, you know, yell at these people on my behalf, even though I haven't asked them to do so.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And I've actually had that, you know, a particular community in this world do those same things to me. Right.
Yeah. I remember. I remember some of those videos. But man, I don't think we should be building any type of foundation on controversy. And
Correct.
and I think that includes social media. So
Well, except one, yeah, I would say except one controversy, which is the gospel would be the most controversial thing I know to be
absolutely. But
right, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. But 99.9% of the TikTok controversy is not about the gospel. It's about either secondary issues or completely blasphemous issues, of course. But the controversies, if we actually all just focused on the gospel, we would never know what the differences were between our theologies or whatever. I mean, if we were all just out here preaching, hey, look, people need to be saved, man. Like, you owe a debt to God for your sin. You need to be saved.
That's right.
And somebody has to pay that debt. Now, either it can be you or Jesus, but that's the truth. And I have to tell you this so that you know that that there is going to be a coming judgment where that payment will be collected. And so start from there. And if everybody were saying that and not saying, oh, the rapture, or oh, this or that, it's like, we would never know. We would all be just lovingly be like, man, that's my Christian brother, because all he does is talk about the gospel. All he does is proclaim that Jesus saves, and he is God, and he's to be worshipped. And man, who will lead the way in that? How many of us are willing to put our own controversies aside and our own pride aside and stop calling people out? Stop getting into these petty, like, TikTok is real life arguments, like you're having a fight in high school. Like, who's going to lead the charge as Christians so that we just go to proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ? I hope someone soon does. I hope someone of notoriety can do it, or it can be effective or influential. But I hope someone does that inspires.
All right, I'll do it. You said you asked.
What's up, Jason? Yeah, man. I mean, it's just I just think it's all silly, man. It's all vanity. I just read Ecclesiastes recently, and I'm definitely in a Solomon season. I'm in a season of, like, wisdom. It's all vain. It's all vanity. It's all emptiness. It's all nothing. It's all worthless. And I'm starting to see a lot of that. And so, and I'm seeing, the man is destined to work until he dies. I see that in a way that makes sense to me. And I see it in culture and in society, and the things that we pursue, man, our pursuits are so empty. I mean, gosh, I've been looking at them, and I've been, like, really pondering some of the things that people, we had this, actually, we talked about this a little bit in youth group. What does the world consider worthy, and valuable? And then we discussed the difference between what it means to be a friend of the world and have enmity with God. What that means, what does it mean to be a friend of the world is had enmity with God? That's James 4:5. And so we talked about that. It is pursuing the things that the world values, whether it's money, whether it's notoriety, popularity, control, power. We have to stop pursuing those things, and that includes our TikToks. Yep. and our building a following or building a brand.
Yep.
Like, bro, like, it's so silly, dude. Like, it's so silly. Like, guys like Jonah Wiley are silly. Like, he's building a brand based off of him and catchy videos, while he could be proclaiming the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like, so what is he pursuing?
Jonah Wiley is the same Jonah we've had conversations with.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah. That's the guy we've talked to before. Actually had conversations with, and again, I just read also in Titus, not to call men evil, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let God figure that out, but I do disagree strongly with a lot of the ways that people do things in Christ, proclaiming Christ, and I think a lot of Christians need a check on their pride. You're not that great. We're not that great. You think you're a great Bible teacher, pastor, teacher, preacher. You're not that great. I'm not that great. And the world doesn't revolve around me, and I'm not the main character of this story. God is the main character. So I'm tired of pursuing being this main character role in life. It's so exhausting,
So what brought you here? Like, what in Ecclesiastes is just the simple fact that everything
all of it
like circular and pointless in the sense that
and not like
all
hopeless.
is repetitive.
Don't
pointless
hopeless
in the sense that it's all vain. It's all
a
waste of time, because that's what he's coming to the conclusion of.
Yeah, he's done everything.
Getting at is that everything, like literally everything tangible that he could have put his hands on, or could have, like anything he wanted, he could have, and when he had it, it was,
and he could learn it, and he could experience it. Like he says at the beginning that he set himself to be one who has experienced everything, so he can tell about it. Like I get the feeling that he like thinks in his head, I'm gonna go do everything that the world offers, and so that I can write about it, and so I can experience it to tell you what the truth is in it. And so yeah, I mean, I think he makes a good point at the end where he really talks about the most joy, the most peace is in loving God. And that's the only thing that brought him peace and satisfaction. I'm totally paraphrasing, but it really boiled down to serving the Lord. After experiencing everything that the world had to offer, and more than any of us will ever even get a chance to experience, aside from like, he didn't get to see helicopters and airplanes. That probably would have been pretty cool for him. And cars, but like the world is still offering the same things. Like nothing is new.
Right. So there's a desire within all of us for something absolute. And what we see is that's not tangible through things in the world, because there is nothing absolute.
Right.
Right. So everything is just dust in the wind.
Yes.
So, yeah. But it doesn't mean you become a pessimist.
No, I'm very hopeful for the future, man. My hope is in Christ, and I'm very excited for it.
You think Jesus come back?
I don't think it's going to happen soon? In my lifetime.
100 years?
Probably not, dude.
200?
I think we might have another couple thousand years of the earth left. Could be.
There's a theory that the time frame before Christ is the time frame after Christ, which would make sense. You put Christ in the center.
Yeah, and God's pretty complete in those things too. Yeah.
So I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Still on this journey for soul sleep. Still kind of leaning more towards soul sleep.
If I close my eyes on earth and I open my eyes before the Lord, I don't care how long that time it passes. Doesn't matter to me.
Correct.
Yeah. Who cares? One way or the other, to be absent from the body is to be present with God. And I'm excited. I do believe that we will be greeted by the Lord and a host of awesome people and creation, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that, dude. I am so excited for it. My body is groaning. It's ready to go. Like, not that I don't have joy here. That's not the case at all. I feel very blessed every day I wake up. I feel very grateful to be alive and to have a family and people that I can care for and love.
Yeah.
But man, if this is a preview, knowing what we can know right now about God and how amazing that is, if this is just a preview, man, I'm ready for the trailer to be over. Like, bring me, Lord. Like, bring me home.
Yeah, brother.
It's because I have something to do there too. And it's like my heart longs for it.
Real talk. You think we'll run a podcast in heaven?
I think God has given us all gifts that will be used for eternity. and the things that we do matter.
I'm gonna hold you to that. So when we're in heaven, I'll be like, "Hey, Drew, we got to continue our podcast."
I can see that being, my hope is that I can learn more music and understand music more, because like
Mm.
I love making music. I've written music and recorded music and everything over the past, um, but I have so many things in me that I can't produce because I just don't have the talent. But it's like I have the understanding of music, and I feel like I've been able to like analyze music my whole life, and really appreciate it in a way that is like, man, God, like this is amazing that this thing can exist. Something that sounds beautiful, that evokes emotion, that is a sound that my ears hear, that send brain, signals to my brain. It's like God created me specifically like that, and it's like, what did you do that for, God? Is it so that I could just appreciate your creation, or is this so that not only can I appreciate it but learn from it and utilize it in eternity as well? I've been thinking a lot about eternity, bro. Like I've been thinking a lot about heaven.
Mm.
It's been on my heart a lot. I feel
Yeah.
like God has given me some dreams, and just some thoughts to process. Like I've been really going down this idea of being of reigning with Christ, of judging angels, of having dominion, and having like some sort of governance position with whatever God has us to do. Um, it's really just been kind of crazy to think. Like I made the point earlier, I was live earlier, and I said I think that like I'm starting to realize the things that we go through on earth, the good things and the bad things, are all for the purpose of what we'll do in eternity. And
Correct.
whether it's consoling or not consoling, counseling, or teaching on something, or sharing in this experience or in some way, or because I think we're going to talk to each other in heaven. I think we're going to know each other in heaven. We're going to have conversations. We're going to learn. There's going to be never ending stories of people that have existed in centuries long before and long after us. So it's going to be like we're going to be constantly learning about what happened on earth, what was God's plan here, and what did people go through. It's like, so we all are experiencing these things in order to boast of God's glory to others when we share those experiences here and in heaven.
Yeah. So Christ clearly says that people will come from all over to dine at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, to learn and to understand, right? So we're coming to just eat with them. There's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about that, right? Was it Andy or Randy Acorn?
Alcorn.
Alcorn. Yeah, his book Heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep, right? It really shows, like, yeah, you will work in heaven, right? The same way we worked in the garden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is like, it's going to be the perfect work though. And I think it's everything that we're learning here will be towards that perfect work, because it's all like, this is like a training scenario. This is it's a sanctification studio. We're being refined while we're here. We're experiencing good, but we have to experience death. We have to experience loss and tragedy. We have to know and understand those things, because there'll be a reason. There'll be a reason that we, as the people that lived on earth in the time from its creation to its end, those people will have something to share about the magnificence and the glory of God. I don't know who we're going to share it with. I wonder whether we'll share whether we just share it with each other, which I think is the most logical. Do we share it with angels? Do we share these experiences with these other created beings that God has made? Like, what is that going to be? So I don't know. I think what if what if God is in his amazing plan of history? What if Earth and its experience, now this is going to sound crazy, so please, this is not doctrinal, this is just fantasy, okay? But what if God in his majesty has this part of his story here on Earth from its creation to its end, with Jesus as the Savior? And I'm not saying a different Jesus. I'm just saying that. What if there is a new creation born that is not sinful and has no sin nature anymore, and we are the ones, because of our experience on Earth, having lived in the former realm of sin and death and being saved? What if we become some sort of governance over this other creation? I'm not saying it's going to be humans again or anything like that, but I mean, I know it's a little bit Mormon. Crazy to think about. Stop saying it's Mormon, bro. I'm not. Dude, just tell me what you think about that in a logical sense, without it being about Mormonism.
So let me get the premise correctly. We have passed through, and now we are essentially how the angels now were governing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, what if? I don't have any biblical, I have no biblical anything to back that up. This is just me fantasizing about what God could have planned for the future. I have no idea if it's true or not. It's just a what if.
No. I don't know.
Why? Why no? Like, do you have a good reason to think like why that would be a solid no?
The same way that there's this is just me, right? Like I mean, obviously we're speculating. The same way there is cherubim, right? There are angels that circle the throne of God, and they still, after 6,000-7,000 years, have still not exhaustively come to understand him, right? Every time they circle his throne, they find something new and amazing and more beautiful and more glorifying. We'll spend all of eternity trying to fathom that. We won't. We'll continue to work and talk about the redemption of mankind, and it will take eons.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm not talking about like deification, like we become a deity.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. You're just saying that like we look after, observe, maybe even simply observe a second nature, a second world.
A world where with the intent and how God created it with Adam and Eve in the garden, it would be a world like that where there was no sin. So it's
so like we rewatch it without the fall.
Well, I don't know if maybe like not
like rewatching, not in like a rewind, but in a
right time. Yeah, like we join with Christ as co-heirs. So there's this idea that we share in we share in his death. We will share in his glory because of what he did. And so, and this again, it's not. I'm definitely not trying to make it sound like we are going to be so important. And so I'm just thinking like these, the idea that like we would be in these positions of governance over a different creation, but like we would still have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The patriarchs would still exist. They would still be known as the patriarchs. Like they would still be teaching us. Like it's not like a total starting over. It would be a continuation. Did you just fart, bro?
No, I'm rubbing my leg and I hit my chair.
Oh, that's hilarious. I thought you were trying to sneak one out. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm glad that my audio is picking up that well.
Yeah, it's good audio. It's great.
With my audio.
That's great.
Good to know. Like if I do try to sneak one out, it ain't getting away with it.
Now, if I smell it, that'll be problematic.
You got to get those new headphones, those Apple headphones.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I don't know. I don't think so, right? So you're
I
saying
don't think so
Earth
either.
Earth 2.0 has started, right? We're
Yeah,
in a
maybe.
glorified state, and there's these new humans being created out of not us
I mean, if
creating
anything, it
more of
makes for a
us.
cool book, right? Like it makes for a kind of a cool story to
Yeah,
t- to tell. Like I'd watch that on TV, starring Pedro Pascal.
yeah.
But no, I mean, it's like I just think of
They
it's like
they they have a
eternity is a
book.
long time. How do we
Yeah,
know that God doesn't have more plans that He absolutely hasn't revealed to anybody on Earth? But we're supposed to focus on being like Christ, and we're supposed to focus on worshiping God. And so it's like,
yeah.
how do we know that God's plan isn't there's a continuation, and there's a book there's a book written about this experience, this human experience, and the people learn about. I don't know, man. It's just
Well, so
crazy to
they
think about.
they they have a book and literature on this very thing in Salt Lake City, Utah.
I love you, dude. I appreciate it. You got to keep me in check. I get it.
No, I get it. You're speculating like so. Have you seen The Good Place, the
Yeah,
TV show?
yeah.
So when they
It's
finally
funny.
get to eternity, they just keep living this paradise to the point that they get bored with paradise,
Right, right.
right? And eventually they can step into the void or the thing that erases them, and they're
Yeah.
annihilated into
Wow.
nothing, right? And so they'll talk about people going, 30,000 Jeremy Bearamys or whatever the heck it's called,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
time, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what they're. Yeah, yeah,
right, right. That's this loop that spells
yeah.
out Jeremy Bearimy, right? And so you spend so much time, they're able to actually track their time in eternity. It's such a stupid show, right? But it's based on the whole like idea of like good points versus bad points, and then
Yeah.
obviously it's dumbed down because nobody can be perfect, right?
Right.
But they finally step into that void. I don't think that's how I would perceive the Christian heaven, that we would ever want to step out or
Oh yeah. No,
away
not at all.
from the glory of God, right? But what we do there, I mean, I think it's not like harps and sitting on clouds, but like it's going to be
Right.
work and fun.
I
Like
think it's gonna be
I'll be able
technology,
to
bro.
paint, I'll be able to paint perfectly to the perfect portion of my ability,
Yeah.
right? The ability I was given to paint, I will be able to meet that ability perfectly. Um, and that in and of itself is beautiful,
Yeah.
right? Then I get to manifest what God has already planned for me, right?
Do
I
you
get
think
to
you'll already
see
know how to paint perfectly, or are you gonna continue to learn it? You think there'll be a pursuit of learning it, that and you'll be able to learn it perfectly in order to do it perfectly?
you're in a glorified state.
Yeah.
So I think your talents are are
Enhanced?
perfected.
Like super
Yeah,
serum?
yeah. Like they're,
Yeah.
I think they're. I would assume you're in a glorified state where your talents and the abilities God designed you to have are
Mm.
you're fully capable of manifesting them.
But
Now
you won't be okay,
learning
yeah.
on top of them, right? Adding to, I think it's not so much as a learning process as it is um, performance, right? Painting one, then going and creating the next one, right? Playing a song,
Yeah.
then manipulating a new song, manipulating the next song. And here's the cool part, in community, right? Like where you're playing with somebody else
Yeah.
for the glory of God. I'm
Yeah, just
painting
like
and
a jam
somebody
session in the city, in whatever the new Jerusalem looks like, right down in the middle, people just starting up a jam session
in
for.
harmony. How
Yeah.
beautiful would that
Yeah,
be?
perfectly sung, the perfect song. It would always be the perfect song. It's like in the Lego world. Everything is awesome. It's the perfect song. Everybody loves it. It's just the only song that they know. It's like it's great. Everybody loves this song. It's the perfect song. But it really truly will be. Like every song, oh, thanks for the hat, man. Every song will be the perfect song.
Yeah.
You know, I can't wait, man. Like, is this where was Paul 40 when he was writing about like being ready to go be with the Lord? Like, I feel like this is like
technically, if you actually wanted to take the, let's Google that.
I think
'Cause
Paul
he
was
actually
in his 60s when
converted,
he was in jail.
right, and he died pretty
When he was
early.
writing
But if you take that timeline
Philippians.
backwards, he was pretty young when he started persecuting the church. He was very
Yeah,
zealous.
he was young, because he was 8 when Stephen was being stoned to death, or 12. I think maybe 12. That sounds right.
Yeah, so if he was 60 years old when he died, technically, based on tradition and historical alignment.
Yeah,
60, around 64 AD. So he didn't even see the destruction of Jerusalem.
no, he sure didn't.
So date of birth was 5 AD.
But people in his generation would
he
have.
He was
which
literally a
fulfills the prophecy.
contemporary of Jesus. He knew of the Nazarene, right? This potentially could have been a thorn in his side his entire upbringing within his pharisaical, which I'm making that word up, guys. That's not a real word. His Pharisee training. Because, or at least, well, I guess he wouldn't have known it until, well, thank you.
I mean,
I appreciate it.
He would have, people would have definitely still been talking about Jesus as he was born and coming up in the church.
Well, but so I mean, nothing baptized, right? So until he was 30 years old, so he actually probably didn't know anything about Jesus until he heard word of somebody performing miracles. Right, but they always heard word. There was tons of people claiming to be the Messiah and performing.
I was to say, Stephen came as, if Paul was not even a teenager yet when Stephen was stoned to death, and Stephen was after Jesus.
So here it's saying he was born in 5 AD.
Yeah, so he was born 5 years after Jesus died. So he would have heard of Jesus, but he would have heard it probably in contestment in the Jewish synagogues. And he would have, because if the high priest's job was to watch out for these false messiahs and everything and be the judge over that, they would have used Jesus as an example at a minimum.
Yeah, I think Paul of North is right. Jesus died in 33 AD, technically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after death, we don't actually have the correct timeline on the AD, BC AD. Like, hold on. Ew, this is good.
Because, well, again, Stephen was a disciple of Jesus, and Paul was barely of age when he was there holding the coats of Stephen, of the guys that were stoning Stephen.
I love Google so much. It said this so matter-of-factly. Jesus died, therefore, on Friday, April 3rd, 33 AD, around 3 p.m., according to tradition.
Got you. So when was Paul born? They think 5 AD?
Yeah, 5 AD.
That doesn't make sense. Paul would have been 28 when Jesus was crucified. That doesn't make sense.
That makes more sense than 10 years old.
But Stephen was a disciple after Christ, right? Find out, Google when Stephen was a disciple, because maybe the stoning of Stephen happened while Jesus was still alive.
No, it happened after.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Well, then it has to be, then Paul, what does it say in Acts that Paul's age was? Just see if you can Google it. How old was Paul when Stephen was stoned? Enhancing. Give me that plate number.
That is actually a common question asked. Saul was about 28 to 32 years old.
When Jesus was crucified?
No, when he stoned Stephen.
Saul was?
Mm-hmm. Where are we at? Because, all right, so yeah, Paul was potentially a leader within his own little group of Pharisees.
But I thought for sure he was a teenager when Stephen was stoned. I thought that's been
how much
have
of a
I been
teenager?
have I been mistaught? Like my whole I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, doggone it, did I fall into another stupid trap where somebody taught me something dumb and I've been thinking this my whole life?
Bro, I still don't put spoons in my fridge because of my parents.
Oh,
They
why is
lied to
that?
me. My mother told me if you leave silverware in the fridge, it'll poison the food.
Oh, geez.
And I to this day will never. I've even thrown stuff away. What a waste! What a waste! So
Okay.
I've actually never like thought about ages like this, and then ages correlated to dates and times.
Yeah.
So Stephen was fairly young. I used to have this theory that Stephen was supposed to be Paul, right? But Paul is there to witness his martyrdom, and so God calls Paul to replace Stephen. Not that, well, I mean, God is sovereign. It worked out the way it was supposed to at all times. But as if this was the devil's attempt to stop the spread of Christianity by stopping Stephen, well, God just uses the vessel that destroyed Stephen to then become the vessel to move Christianity, right?
Okay, I found somebody giving an answer to this question here. This guy says, it's an interesting question and one that has caught the eye of commentators for a long time. Let's get the text of Acts 7:58 first. And the witnesses laid aside their robes at the feet of a young man named Saul. Now, the term here is Neanias, used only in Acts in the New Testament. Although none of these contexts gives much help for determining how youthful a Neanias might be, it is also used about 30 times in the Septuagint. However, as well as more widely, of course, in the LXX, it can sometimes simply refer to fighting men, as in 2 Samuel 6:1 and 1 Kings 12. R.J. Knowling, not to be confused with J.K. Rowling, same initials, included a pithy but helpful comment on this problem in the Old Expositor's Greek Testament, including the observation that Josephus applies the term to Agrippa I when he was at least 40. Knowling suggests the possible range for the term anywhere between 24 and 40, so roughly the boundaries suggested by OP's research. More recently, Craig Keener's massive Acts commentary reflects on the issue. He adds some consideration about the phases of life in both Roman and Jewish settings, all of which adds to the wooliness, not the clarity, of the lower and upper limits. Keener himself opts for a younger birth date for Saul. In any case, it appears that young man in Acts 7:58 contrasts with old man on the broad scale of adult male life. The dates involved do not present a problem as they might appear to in our contemporary. So I guess that's just something that I've been taught, that I have been wrongly understanding for a long time.
The average lifespan during the first century was roughly 55 years old, but there were undoubtedly individuals who lived well into their 80s and 90s. So
Yeah.
Being a young man could still be considered into your 30s. Jesus was still considered young at 33. The average life expectancy, though, at that time was 35 years old. However, this figure can be very misleading due to the high infant mortality rate. People up until like the 1900s didn't name their kids until they were like 2 years old.
Wait, what?
Up until
I'm so distracted. What did you say?
Up until the 1900s here in America, people really didn't even name their kid because up
Oh,
until about 2 years old,
they didn't live.
because
Oh yeah. Well, that makes
you
sense.
honestly you didn't make it. It was very common. So you would actually have lots of kids. Oh, guys, so for everybody listening, Uncommon Union by um, Sarah Edwards is wonderful. Please go to YouTube and listen to the audiobook reenactment. It's like an acting and reading at the same time. It's wonderful. And what's beautiful about that is she's describing church in the 1700s
Mm,
with Jonathan Edwards as a lead pastor and her as a pastor's wife.
mm.
And the same crap that we deal with today in the church was happening there
Oh yeah,
in the 1700s and the 1720s.
dude. What's the name of this book?
Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's
Nothing.
exactly what I was talking about with Solomon.
I'm telling you, brother. Like Uncommon Union by Sarah Edwards. It's about her.
And this is her like memoirs or whatever as a pastor's wife.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, her memoirs on life with Edwards. So
Life
I've been
with-
studying the Puritans. I've been trying to get real deep into the Puritans.
Uncommon Union. Hang on, I
Dude,
want to write
it's-
this down
it's
because I
so
think
good.
I think Rachel would be interested in it.
So there was a common belief, right?
Yeah.
That if you had your child on a particular day, is the day that you conceived that child 9 months earlier, right? And Sarah gave birth to her first 4 kids on Sunday. And so people assumed that her and Edwards were having sex on Sundays, and that was not a no-no.
Oh wow.
So and people would, obviously talk and like give her crap for it. She was like, oh well, she blew that off. Also, the type of music, people believed that you shouldn't sing anything but the Psalms. And Edwards oftentimes would let Wesleyan music play in his church, right? Because Wesley was a contemporary. He actually enjoyed Wesleyan hymns. So, but it wasn't until Whitefield came and preached at Edwards Church in Northampton that he then wrote "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God." She said that she looked over at Edwards while Whitefield was preaching, and he was in tears.
Oh wow.
And that was just to hear this document, like made me want to go write my own biography about things going on in my life, just so this can be remembered for the future. It is really well done. It's on YouTube. So,
well, the content that we create is something that people, have access to and should for hopefully many generations.
even 1,000.
Maybe.
That's right.
Could be. All right, man. We're an hour in. You want to? What are you thinking?
Wrap it up.
Yeah, it sounds good. You want to do the gospel?
I do appreciate that. I would love to, because I'm tired.
Yeah, man. No, I feel that. I like keeping it an hour. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So since I've been studying Edwards and stuff, I would like to put a little twist on this. Is that at 18 years old, Edwards knew that he was called to preach the gospel. And one thing he wanted to remind himself was that to have eternity imprinted on his eye, at the forefront of his eye, that he would always focus and look to the future kingdom of God, and that he lived a life that served that kingdom here, and brought as many people to heaven as possible. And just kept that focus, that everything else, as Drew has said, is just dust in the wind, right? Everything is just vanity. Everything is a distraction. And the only absolute you'll ever have in this world is Christ and Christ alone. He is our Redeemer. He is our atonement. He is the propitiation for your sins. So give your life to Christ. Have eternity imprinted on your mind. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, just know that 2,000 years ago, Jesus lived, died, um, gave his life for the world to be redeemed, right? Through his death and resurrection, you, a sinner, can be saved. Right? You can be saved. And that is amazing. Saved from yourself, saved from your sin, and that it isn't your sin that God looks at the day of judgment, but he throws your sin as far as the east is from the west. He sees you wrapped and clothed in the righteousness of Christ. So I hope you can trust that.
Amen. I like that you seem to bring it full circle with eternity. That was good. We were talking about eternity.
Yeah, that was good.
Eternity in our eyes.
Imprinted on your eyes.
Yeah, that's how I want to live, man. And that's what gets me the most excited. Well, good stuff. All right, brother. Have a good night. Thank you guys for joining us. And check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you want or don't. Same on TikTok. We don't care. Whatever. We like having you. But, you don't have to do anything. Love you guys. God bless you. Have a great rest of your night. And see you